Hello everyone and welcome to the Pitskill.io Porsche Cup and BMW Multiclass, sponsored by SimQuips. I'm your host Roy Weller, and tonight it is round 7 of the series and we are at the Hungaroring, a twisty circuit which does pose its challenges to the drivers, both in terms of overall pace and overtaking. And with our two classes taking to the track tonight, it will be interesting to see where they stack up and how everyone gets on. But we are sticking with the original rack seat to Szynski as he starts what will be the first of our flying laps of this Hungaroring circuit as we head down towards turn 1 heavy braking zone and a late apex. Head down onto the second straight towards our second hairpin. Some people do take it as a double apexer. A couple of lines that can be taken through this corner. There's a little correction there from Szynski, or a lot of correction there from Szynski, soaring away at the wheel as we come down and chuck it over that inside apex curb, opening up that corner, head around up the hill towards the chicane, which is going to be more of a challenge for these Porsche Cup cars than it will be later on for the BMWs, I am sure. Bouncing over both apex curbs, and this is looking like a fast, if a little scrappy lap from Szynski. A lot of soaring away at the wheel. Again, as a reminder, these Porsche Cup cars with no traction control. The only thing keeping the rear of these cars in check is the driver's skill and right foot. Just a couple of corners to go before we see what our times are going to start looking like for tonight's session. We exit the final corner, back down onto the start-finish straight, and to the line, and it is a 1:47.530 for Szynski, which is swiftly beaten by Balázs Fejhit, the home hero, here at the Hungaroring, with a 1:46.865, just narrowly being beaten by Luke Tranmere. And sets a time more 1:46.615, setting the pace early on in this qualifying session. The Porsche Cups will only be out there for the first 10 minutes, and then they will have to hand the track over to our BMW drivers. So not as much time as it may appear for these drivers currently out there at the moment, as championship leader Johan Leff going fastest at the moment with a 1:46.345, almost 3/10 clear of Luke Tranmere in P2, as we're seeing lap times being produced by most of our field in the Porsche Cups. Yet to see a lap out of our previous championship winner, Rhys Tattersall, the reigning champion of the Porsche Cups, as he slides his way around the hairpin. Not especially sure that's going to be the fastest way around that corner. Tattersall just needs to get a tidy lap in here, get something on the board. And we're seeing plenty of drivers improving their time over their subsequent laps. There's one driver just about to finish off a solid improvement. Sam McCarthy, currently 1.8 seconds down on the leader's time, but I think that is going to be well and truly trapped. There we go. Now just 9/10 of a second off, and improves it massively in time, but not at all in position. being a gap from P6 downwards, as John Sawyer going much faster on this lap, currently 2.6 seconds down, and really hooking this lap together much better than his previous. Improves by over a second and up into P6, just ahead of Sam McCarthy. As Rhys Tattersall sets his first flying lap of the session, the 146.647, 7/10 of a second off of our current pole sitter, Johan Leff, who is currently sitting on a 145.922. Really solid lap time there from Leff. 1.7 seconds fast, sorry, 0.17 seconds faster than Luke Tranmer. It's not quite that dominant over the rest of the field. And as our series sponsor, Chris Wright, still just in the first sector, but has already found over a second. Actually, no, he's not in the first sector. Completely misjudged where he is. Going around to start the third and final sector of the lap. Currently 2.2 seconds down on Leff, who's currently out in pole position, as the worst camera angle in ACC rears its ugly head yet again. With Chris Wright just one corner left to go, finding plenty of pace on this lap, and should see him getting within 1 second of our provisional pole sitter. A 1:47.085, not quite getting within a second, but puts him in P8 and a much more competitive lap time from Wright. We will check in with Rhys Tattersall, who's now rounding the final corner, and this is going to be a close one. He crosses the line, so 1:45.980, just 0.06 of a second off of Johan Leff, who is going faster on this lap, is finding a bit more time, and this looking like it will be potentially the final lap for Rhys Tattersall. And she might get one more after this. I'm currently sitting in P2 as it stands. And improvements looking harder to find at this point in the qualifying session. For all it seems, but this man, one currently with the fastest lap time, finding heaps more of it. Just getting more and more confident around this Hungaroring circuit is the number 12 car of Johan Leff. Just 2 corners to go. And nothing really in the way of him taking a huge chunk in hand, as Luke Tranmer has taken P2 off of Rhys Tattersall. Rhys Tattersall currently sitting in the pit lane, will not get another chance at another lap, so will start P3 at best, as Johan Leff finds another couple of tenths of a second and cements his place on pole position there with a 1:45.725. Although let's not discount Luke Tranmer just yet, who is on a real flyer at the moment. He's finding plenty of pace as he goes across the grass. That's not going to be faster, taking that line through the corner. As the rear getting a little bit sketchy. Tranmer seemingly just pushing a little bit beyond what the car wants or is capable of. As looks like that's Balazs peeling off of the circuit ahead, leaving a clear track to Luke Tranmer. Get on and see what he can do with just 1 corner remaining of this racing circuit. Luke Tranmer is running this one close as he exits the final corner. He comes to cross the line, and it was close, not quite close enough, just 6.5 hundredths of a second off of pole position. As Jesper Swingley going to cross the line, improving in position ahead of Gunderson. And that is it, it would seem, for our Porsche Cups. Just actually Sam McCarthy left to go. Don't think he's going to improve in position. Tadeusz Sosinski safe in P7. Sam McCarthy taking P8 ahead of Chris Wright. And now it's the turn of the BMW M2s to take to the circuit. And is it Roland Stricker at the head of the field again? Oh no, for once not. Who is it at the front of the field? Is that Levinson? It is indeed. Alex Levinson leading the way and gets the honour of taking us on our first flying lap of this Hungaroring circuit on board. We head down towards turn 1 and we'll take a look and see if there are many differences between the way these BMWs take to the circuit as opposed to the Porsche Cups. A lot more ground clearance on the M2s. We'll probably be able to take quite a few more liberties with the curbs. There are some quite aggressive apex curbs here at the Hungaroring. Some which the Porsche Cups were taking quite aggressively and some which they were avoiding. But you can see BMWs there eating the curbs up like they're nothing. And here's going to be the real test of the M2's curb eating powers. Yeah, there we go. I don't even think it knows they're there. Alex Levinson really chucking this car around this Hungaroring circuit. As we head into the final sector of this Hungaroring circuit. Or as Levinson goes deep and has washed wide of the circuit, so we'll stay on board with Levinson for the rest of this lap, but it's not going to count for anything as he has run wide of the track limits and invalidated. We'll have to go again, but I'm sure this opening lap just getting his eye in for now, and we know these BMW M2s not necessarily going to have their tyres up to temperature to be able to produce a competitive lap straight out of the gate, so I'm not sure he's going to be too displeased with invalidation that first attempt. As Sergei Sebastian setting the pace to start off with 158.367, which is handily beaten by Andy Hudson by almost a whole second. 157.465. Our championship leader in the M2s is looking to further secure that position with a very solid lap. But already Sergei Sebastian up considerably on his previous best lap time, as Matthias Peltzer is back in the Port Cub liveried car. We love to see it. As wow, you can see really that M2 absolutely hammering the apex curbs there through the chicane. Another driver just behind Peltzer, who's improving, is our Pitskill.io head steward, Casper Johansson. And we will be keeping a keen eye on Casper out on track, making sure he behaves himself. As a little bit of a Scandinavian flick there, appropriately, from Johansson. As we cross the line, sees him jumping ahead of Kaiser as what we're seeing improvements up and down the field here as Denis Doucette coming around the final corner has found plenty of pace in this lap. Wants to cross the line and, well, found a lot of pace, but not found any new positions. But much improved and can continue to improve their lap time in the remaining 3 minutes of this session. As things still not getting much closer at the top of the field, as Andy Hudson continuing to go even quicker. We're sitting on a 1:47.465 and showing green on my timing board right here. Still got a few drivers in this M2 field who have yet to set a lap time. Concerningly enough, one of those is the driver we were on board with on his first lap, Alex Levinson, still without a lap time, but currently rounding the final sector. Can he keep it within track limits in this corner this time? And playing it safe there, as didn't apply the commentator's curse, Alex Levinson. I think maybe going a little bit conservative on this lap. We'll have, I think, 2 more laps in it if he can keep this next one tidy. Around a 2-minute lap time for the M2s. He crosses with 2:05 remaining, so as long as he's fueled up, should have a couple more attempts as he puts himself into P3, so not that conservative on that lap, or if he was, might have plenty of time in hand. As Kasper Johansson crosses the line, 1:59.572. Puts him P28 overall, and that is P8 in class. As Alex Levinson will not have another attempt at a lap, and well, did quite a superb effort on that first flying lap. So currently sitting in P3, and we'll just have to hope that no one else can go any faster. As the fan favourite livery of Harold Kakumaya is coming around the final corner. And will he improve in position ahead of Schiffer? Not quite, but we'll have one more attempt at a flying lap. And it was a solid showing out in the last round, although apparently with an incident that I missed. Oh, this is going to get confusing, isn't it? We've got 2 hard racing liveries out on track tonight. Toby Pentlow currently running P5 in class, and Sergei Sebastian, who is currently sitting in P2 on an invalid lap. Sergei Sebastian will get one more attempt to try and take pole position in class away from Andy Hudson. But it's not looking great for him so far. Currently about 0.8 of a second off of that time set by Hudson. Hudson was saying to me before this race that he was expecting it to be close, looking at the times that are being set in practice. But looking at this, it's a dominant display from our championship leader. Pentlow rounding the final corner now. Found a decent chunk of time on this lap, and is the first driver, or sorry, second driver to see the checkered flag. So it's a 1:58.407. Just less than a second off of our provisional pole sitter, who's also taken the checkered flag, Andy Hudson. As we wait to see what can be done by Sergei Sebastian. This is the all-important lap, as he absolutely chucks it through into the uphill hairpin, onto chicane at the top of the hill. Is this a place on the track that he just needs to show a bit more aggression? It's the It's the second sector where Sebastian's really been losing out to Hudson. It looks like he's finding a bit more pace on this lap. Really making the best out of the track limits here. So Sebastian is finding a considerable amount of pace on this lap, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough, using absolutely every millimetre afforded to him by the track limits. Just one corner to go. Can he find the time that he needs to take pole position? And it's going to be close. It's been a solid effort from Sergei Sebastian as he crosses the line. He closed that gap up. It was a considerable gap, but he's now got that down to less than 0.03 of a second. Solid effort there from Sergei Sebastian, but just missing out on pole position. So it will be Andy Hudson starting at the head of the BMW M2 field. Sergei Sebastian in P2 and Pentlow in P3. And as our drivers line up on the starting grid, gives me a little bit of time to take us through our starting order for tonight's race. And as before, our man on pole position is Johan Leff, current championship leader, looking to extend that lead. And in P2, we've got Luke Tranmer. P3, it's Reese Tattersall, our defending champion and owner of a horrendous livery, which is probably going to get yet another video flagged by YouTube. Hometown hero and driver of the fake Subaru, Balazs Feher, is in P4. And, well, again, we hope that Feher can keep this car off of the grass, although it does seem to be the spiritual home of that Subaru livery car. E5 is Robert Weidbeck in the 109 car, with John Sawyer starting alongside him in the 113. In P7 we have the original Rexy, Tadeusz Szynski, alongside series regular Sam McCarthy, starting down in P8. And the long-time sponsor of the Porsche Cup Series, Chris Wright, is starting in P9, heading up the 5th row of the grid, and he will be starting alongside P10 driver Florent Demore. In P11, in the unsafety racing livery car, is Christian Fager. And he will be starting alongside Daniel Kurowski in P12. In P13 is Slavak Klinger, starting alongside Martin. In the familiar Ubuntu liveried car is Nitro, with the blended livery car, almost a matching pair. It's Jesper Swingley. Dan Gudson in the 125 car, starting in P17 alongside William Broadhouse in the 142 car. In P19 is the 120 car of Alex Perry, starting alongside a newcomer Ted Burr in the 136. And then we get on to our BMW M2 class, and starting on pole position in class and P21 in this race is Andy Hudson, our championship leader, with a part-time contender and sometimes race winner Sergei Sebastian, starting in P2 in class, P22 overall in the number 61 car. And then what is undoubtedly going to lead to considerable confusion, starting just behind Sergei Sebastian in an identical liveried car, is Toby Pentlow in the 129 car. And then we have in the Pork Hub car, Matthias Peltzer, P24 and P4 in class. We've got Roland Schricker starting P5 in class. Will be alongside Alex Levinson. That single lap in qualifying being enough to get him P6 on P6 in class and P26 on the grid. P27 in the Bilstein livery is Jake Jansen van Rensburg, starting alongside Casper Johansson. Reminder to you all, the Pitskill.io chief steward, so let's hope he's on his best behaviour. P29 is Robert Fish alongside Danny Padoan. In P31 is Denis Doucette alongside Alex Kesa. In P33 is Ryu Tsukiyoshi alongside Juha Matilats. In P35, in a very distinctive Tesco livery car, is Ryan Craig Douglas alongside that distinctive, I'm not going to say it, livery of Harold Kakelmeyer. In P37 is Kevin Schiffer alongside the pizza liveried Adam Vertusa. P39 is Monica, and we should return to the start. Actually, the race has already started. It's a very short formation lap here at Hungaroring. And 3 wide out of the first corner. And I'm glad we didn't miss anything too exciting as well. Rhys Tatzel already attempting to throw himself around the outside, already past Luke Tranmer, and now on his way to try and get past Johan Leff. Rhys Tatzel with an absolute flying start. And a really, really aggressive start to get himself from P3 up into the lead. Luke Tranmo looking like he's getting a bit loose there in the background. So now Blauschwe here and Robert Vidbet through. John Sawyer also looking up the inside as a real poor start there from John Sawyer. And up at the front, Rhys Tatzel, who perhaps hadn't shown his true pace in qualifying, is beginning to pull a gap over Johan Leff in this early stage in the race. It's a real change of form here between our top two. As Johan Leff looking like he had pace over the entire field with that heavy fuel load. No, not that heavy, with only a 30-minute race. Advantage seeming to go to Rhys Tatzel. Behind them, Blauschwe here, doing what he does best, leading what is at the moment just a small train. As Robert Vidbeck looks up the inside, and we have got, looks like a number of full starts, I think, there from our BMW M2 field. There's Toby Pentlow, and was that... Well, who was it? A couple of drivers down there anyway, holding drive-through penalties. I can only imagine those drive-through penalties coming from jump starts. But Andy Hudson currently with a 1 second lead over Roland Schricker in our BMW M2 TCX class. As Roland Schricker has not managed to shake Matthias Peltzer, just 0.7 seconds behind. But then further back we have got quite the train as Jensen van Rensburg leads Padoan, Fish, Latz, Ngoi and Tsukiyoshi, sorry. There's all sorts going on behind. Look up. In the Porsche Cups, it is John Sawyer who is feeling the pressure as Tadeusz Zazinski, Sam McCarthy, Christian Fager, Chris Wright and Florent de Moor all sitting within a second of each other, coming around the final corner to start the third lap of this race. Up at the front of the field, Rhys Tattersall not able to shake Johan Leff just yet. Up ahead of this, we can see a battle brewing between Balázs Fehr here, Robert Weibach and Luke Tranmer. This all over the final podium position. Balázs Fehr here currently sitting in P3. As you can see, a number of the Porsche Cups who I think got caught up in incidents at the start, making their way back through the BMW field at the moment. Rhys Tattersall currently out in the lead, still being hounded, though at a slight distance by Johan Leff, gap sitting at 0.6 seconds at the moment. And Luke Tranmer, after a chaotic start, losing traction through the first sector on the first lap, now having a little bit of a recovery drive, though only from P5 at the moment. It's already made his way past John Sawyer, and looking to move forward on the back of Robert Weibach. As behind, you can see Tadeusz Zazinski in the slipstream of John Sawyer has come down yet again towards the first corner. Zazinski staying in the slipstream, not moving out of the slipstream, not going to try and attack on this lap. As they descend the hill. This Hungaroring circuit, not the easiest of tracks to overtake, does rely on a little bit of a mistake from the leading car. You need to be good at applying the sustained pressure, hoping the driver in front just caves to that pressure. It's a very easy circuit to make a mistake on. Track limits here, easy to just run wide of, and many of these corners just running at the very limit of grip, both at the front and the rear axle. Down in P12 we have another battle as Martin holding off Klinger and Karofsky. And this battle over P2 in the BMW M2s as Matthias Peltzer closing down on Roland Schricker right under the rear wing of the P2 driver. As Roland Schricker getting a little bit squirrely coming out of the second to last corner. And so, well, just has to be grateful that he didn't have that sort of a twitch coming out of the final corner. Peltzer right in that slipstream. Got the overspeed, has got himself to the inside. And well ahead by the first corner. Move made for Matthias Peltzer up into P2 in this race. With Andy Hudson now with a 3-second lead over this pair. as Roland Schricker would love to continue fighting, but their battle interrupted by one of the Porsche Cup field. But Matthias Pelzer now under pressure from Schricker, who's looking to throw himself around the outside. We'll have the inside for the next corner, as I believe is that Schricker just running wide of the circuit. Yep, it's on an invalid lap there. Needs to be careful not to run wide or track limits too often. This is a circuit which is renowned for handing out drive-through penalties to drivers who do not obey the track limits. As yet again, Roland Schricker getting twitchy on corner exit has allowed Matthias Pelzer a little bit of breathing room. We'll turn our attention back to the battle over P3 as Robert Weibeck and Luke Tranmer now going side by side. Such is the way of these battles when three cars so close together. It was Robert Weibeck who looked like he was on the attack against Balazs Fehi, but getting compromised through the corner and then allowed Luke Tranmer to make the move up into P4. Solid recovery from Tranmer, who now looks to pressure the back of Fehi and try and take grasp of that final podium position. And Sergio Sebastian, after starting this race in P2 in the class, has dropped back quite considerably actually. And having just noticed that, let's see if anything did happen to the number 61 car early on. Let's see if we can get a replay. Oh! That was quite the collision from the two hard racing liveried cars. Unfortunately, well, we can see from the front of Sebastian there that there has been a hard knock. Unfortunately, the ACC camera there not allowing us to see the full impact of that collision, but yeah, well, we can see now why Sergio Sebastian now running down in P27. And just behind him, Robert Fish being chased by Padoan and Latz. And the battle for P3 continues. Balazs Fehi chased by Luke Tranmer. Both of these have considerably dropped Robert Weibeck over the last lap. Gap now sitting at 2.8 seconds. And Balazs Fehi doing what he does best. A good defender is Fehi. May slow both of them down just a little bit, but knows how to place his car and make himself difficult to pass. Has done him very well in the past. And looking like another defensive drive tonight from Balazs Fehi. Still got 18 minutes to keep this up for, so going to be a test for Fehi. Luke Tranmer really showing that he had the pace during qualifying. But track position ever so important here around the Hungaroring. Let's see what the fake Subaru can do. As they come into the first corner, Balazs Fehi side by side with one of the BMW M2s. Has this potentially compromised his run around the first corner? Doesn't look like it. As they descend the hill, Luke Tranmer looking much more confident on the brakes, having to roll the speed through the corners, is right on the tail of the car ahead. further down in P7, Tobias Szynski has got Sam McCarthy and Christian Fager for company as they too approach onto the back of this BMW traffic. Blue flags are waving as they come onto the back part of the circuit through the twisty stuff. Not the best of overtaking opportunities around here as Szynski holding on ahead of McCarthy and Fager. As Roland Stricker has got himself back ahead of Matthias Peltzer. Up into P2 in class. These two have been battling hard so far all race. As again, Roland Stricker just getting a little bit sideways on corner exit. I wonder if he is running without traction control in that BMW. Has seen many drivers finding a bit more pace with the traction control turned off in these cars. It's a little bit of an intrusive electronic system. And if the driver can trust their right foot, there's potentially a little bit of pace to be gained. But as Stricker is showing, that pace can sometimes come with a few mistakes. As another mistake from Roland Stricker has allowed Matthias Peltzer to get alongside. Although I think Stricker might just have the inside into the chicane. Nope. Gives up the position. And this time it is Peltzer making the mistake. And ending up flying across the chicane. Wonder, will he give that position back to Stricker? Did take an awful lot out of that chicane. Side by side they run again. And Roland Stricker up the inside. Both of them side by side coming down. It's the final sequence of corners. Strong battle here brewing over P2 in the BMW M2 class. As we've got a Porsche in the wall there. As they come around the final corner again. We'll check back in with them later. But right now, Balázs Fehér and Luke Tranmere super close together. As they come out of the final corner yet again. Luke Tranmere still not quite close enough to have a go. As they come down the hill, Luke Tranmere on the outside, moving to the inside. I was wondering, would Tranmere go for a move there? Looks like he thought about it, but Balázs Fehér covering it off. Keeping that position for now, but Luke Tranmere looking like he's clearly got some pace over Fehér. The advantage to Fehér going on track position, but as they approach some of this BMW traffic, will this present an opportunity to Luke Tranmere to find a way through? And it is that battle for P2 that they are descending upon. As that's Rhys Tattersall. What has happened to our race leader? Oh, big sideways moment there for Tattersall. As he gets himself out of the way of the rest of the field. And that sees Rhys Tattersall dropping down now to P5 in the race. And that has handed the lead quite considerably to Johan Leff. Now 7.3 seconds in hand. I'm not sure if it was maybe just taking a bit too much curb on the exit of the chicane that caused him to get pitched into that spin. Unfortunately, we didn't quite catch the start of that incident on the replay, but that has changed the complexion of this race entirely. Johan Leff now all out in front on his own. And it seems like in both of our classes tonight, the real battle is over P2 with both Johan Leff and Andy Hudson with a clear margin over the rest of their competitors. And now Robert Weidbeck. Reese Tattersall on his tail. As the battle for P2 in the BMW class being somewhat interrupted by the lapping Porsche Cup field. You can see Sam McCarthy there sitting in between Roland Stricker and Matthias Peltzer, as Christian Fager looking to make his way through as well. As Matthias Peltzer off onto the grass, the driver who was in P3 in the M2 class. Oh, just getting slightly chopped there by Christian Fager. Peltzer wanting to cut back in for a late apex, not being given the opportunity to do so there by Fager. As Balazs Feher has dropped that now. So what has happened? Oh, Balazs Feher off on the dirt as well. Seems like we're not catching the start of these incidents in the replays, but we are catching the impacts of them, as Balazs Feher now slipped down to P5. Has allowed Robert Weidbeck now onto the bottom step of the podium. And as Andy Hudson, our BMW race leader, allows this fighting pack of Porsche Cups through, Reese Tattersall on the inside of Robert Weidbeck. Robert Weidbeck tries to fight it around the outside, but Tattersall with the superior pace on the inside line up into P3 again in this race. He's got 3 seconds and needs to go and chase down Luke Tranmer, P2. All the while, Johan Lepp opening up his lead in this race to now 10.3 seconds over Luke Tranmer. As we've got battling happening in the Porsche Cups, as looks like a considerably damaged Kasper Johansson. What has happened to the number 24 car? I wonder, do I have anything on my race report? I don't see any reported incident for the number 24. He's got away without the scrutiny here. But that is looking like heavy damage being carried by Kasper Johansson. That car definitely been in the wars. Reese Tattersall so far unable to drop Robert Weidbeck, as this quartet of cars tearing down the start-finish line yet again. Weidbeck perhaps with a bit of an optimistic glance on Tattersall there. Would have been a bold decision to try and send it from about 5 cars back. There's one thing to be said about getting in the mirrors of the car ahead of you, but you do at least have to be visible in the mirrors for that to work. Christian Fager, having dropped back a little bit after that contact with Matthias Peltzer, now being chased down by Chris Wright. This is the battle over P9 in the race, and looks like Chris Wright catching handily. As they come through the chicane, looks like someone running wide there. It's a kick of dust. And we've got battling down in P12 as Kurowski, well, decides to completely skip the chicane. And whoa, getting very close to the back of Martin there. As I think my the this Pitskill license tag's getting a bit funky because I don't think Karofsky has a 3,792 Pitskill. That one might be real, I don't know. It's all gone a bit wonky. Balazs Fahir looking to recover now. The usual defender is now on the attack against Robert Weidbach. Restarted pulled out a 1.5 second gap ahead of these drivers. As Weidbach catching the back of that Tesco liveried BMW at just the wrong moment, has allowed Fahir to close right up onto the back of him as they come into the chicane. Surprised we've not seen any drive-through penalties being awarded for track limits thus far, or at least none that I've noticed. We had a couple at the start of this race for jump starts or starting out of position, but so far drivers able to keep themselves sensibly within the white lines. As Robert Weidbach continuing to defend from Balazs Fahir. It's just 5 minutes remaining in this race. And at the moment, this is looking like the closest battle on the track, apart from perhaps the one slightly behind between Fager and Wright. We're just coming down towards the first corner now. And looking like Fager driving slightly defensive there. It's an early turn in for the first corner. Not wanting to invite a move up the inside as Chris Wright goes very deep into, I believe, is the third corner of this race circuit. And these two battling hard. Looking, to me at least, that Chris Wright, the one with a little bit more pace in hand, a little bit more comfortable with the state of his car, the state of his tyres at the moment. Really looking like he's able to place the car where he wants it through these corners. Oh, well, saying that, I think I may have cursed Chris Wright, as that did not look like a driver who was in control of his car. Snaps one way, and oh, that's quite a heavy collision with the wall. Apologies, Chris. I didn't mean to jinx you there. So we will turn our attention to a race which is still continuing, and it is this one here between Robert Weidbach, Balazs Fahir and John Sawyer. It's over P4 in the overall standings as they pick their way through some of this BMW traffic. Give you an update on the gaps at the top of these classes. Johan Leff currently leading Luke Tranmer by 11.5 seconds. Rhys Tatzel very slowly catching up onto the back of Luke Tranmer. Managed to gain a couple of tenths in the last lap. So may see a battle on our hands there before the end of this race. And down in the BMW field, it is, well, I think the podium is fairly set there, with a 5-second gap between Andy Hudson and Roland Stricker, and also between Matthias Peltzer and Roland Schricker. So the top three looking fairly set there. As Lars Fay here, having dropped back quite considerably from Robert Vibert, now finds himself under real pressure from John Sawyer. So they come through the final corner. Sawyer not really close enough to go on the attack this time around, just getting a little bit unseated out of that final corner, and Fay here comfortable for now. Two drivers don't look especially comfortable. Oh, don't look at all comfortable actually. Is Klinger and Gunderson. So what happened there was, I think, Gunderson just slightly opening up the steering there as they came through the corner. I wonder if there was a little bit of a snap from Dan Gunderson. But Slovak Klinger and Gunderson now drop back quite considerably from the cars they were following. And as our clock approaches zero, Johan Leff just coming through the final sector of this racing circuit here at the Hungaroring. For a while it was looking like this was going to be a race for Rhys Tattersall, but after a what looked like, although it can't be certain, a self-imposed incident for Tattersall, taking the race win here at Hungaroring. Johan Leff has driven solidly and consistently this whole race, take a well-deserved win ahead of Luke Tranmer. And on the final step of the podium is Rhys Tattersall. And coming through the back section of the circuit now, and still leading in the BMW M2 class, is Andy Hudson. As, we do have a drive-through penalty for track limits. Slavik Klinger, not only did he get involved in a late race incident with Dan Gunderson, picks up a drive-through penalty for good measure, and I'm not too sure he will be happy with the results of today's race. And Andy Hudson just caught up there behind Harold Kakemeyer. There's Kakemeyer moving well out of the way, not wanting to interrupt his class leader whatsoever. As a little bit of a victory parade around the final few corners for Hudson. As he comes around now, onto the start finish straight to take the checkered flag. Andy Hudson with the win in the BMW M2 class will be followed by Roland Schricker, who will take P2. And in P3 will be Matthias Peltzer. And P4 going to the severely damaged Sergei Sebastian. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. That was quite the exciting race. Which is somewhat of a surprise at the Hungaroring, but very well done to all of our podium sitters. In the Porsche Cup class, Johan Leff, Luke Tranmer and Robert Weidbeck, and in the BMW M2s, Andy Hudson, Roland Schricker and Matthias Peltzer. So all remains for me to say is do make sure you, if you're interested in this racing, do check out pitskill.io. Don't only race the Porsche Cups and the BMW M2s, but you can find daily GT3 races, anything you like over there. There's going to be something that caters for you as long as your game is ACC, so please do check out the link in the description below. And do check out the pitskill.io Twitch and YouTube channels on Wednesday, when the flagship Go Setups VIP Trophy Series will be heading to the Hungaroring. There'll be a 1 hour race with a pit stop in GT3 car, so that's definitely one to check out. And do come back here, same time, same place next week, when the Porsche Cup and BMW M2 Multiclass will be heading to... Again, I didn't check and the page isn't loading fast enough. We'll be heading to Misano for our second round in Italy. And as always, if you have enjoyed this broadcast, please do remember to like and subscribe. It really does help us out. And until next time, have a very lovely rest of your day. Good night.